And if we look at the first three words of the Aseret HaDibros, of the Ten Commandments, right, they start off, okay, I'm writing Anochi Hashem Lekech on the board. I have to get rid of Eagles win, sorry. I just got nothing against it, but it just doesn't feel right to be putting them up here together. Anochi Hashem. No way to write that. Whatever. Elokecha. Usually translated as I am Hashem your God. Right, we talked about the names Yud Kei Vav Kei and Elokim somewhat recently, I think, right? So Hashem here, this is in the Torah, is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei has the words HaYehovah V'yeh, past, present, future, because this name refers to Hashem almost, let's say, on Hashem's terms. Not Hashem as Hashem is showing up in creator mode, but Hashem as Hashem is. In the absolute infinity of Hashem, the past, the present, and the future do all just coexist. Because Hashem is the origin of time. Hashem is the origin of every point in time. So every point in time coexists together within Hashem. So within Hashem, past, present, future all coexist. Same with every point in space, etc. And then Elokim is a name that refers to a mode of being, let's say, of Hashem, this creator mode, where Hashem is calculating, limiting, restricting, reducing, to create things that are limited and defined. And Hashem operating in that mode brings reality as we know it into being, which is very calculated and defined and limited, etc. And that's why if you read through the account of creation in the Torah, it says, Bereshis bara Elokim. Elokim created. And if you look at every statement of an act of creation, it says Elokim, Elokim. It never says Yud Kei Vav Kei. Because creation doesn't come directly from Hashem in Yud Kei Vav Kei mode. Because if it came from Yud Kei Vav Kei mode, then time, past, present, and future would all be synonymous, and that wouldn't be the way that Hashem wanted it to be. So every act of creation comes from Hashem in creator mode, Elokim, limiting, calculating, designing, restricting, etc. mode, as opposed to Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is non-creator mode. It's just God as God is. But even that, Yud Kei Vav Kei is still a name, which means it still refers to a mode of being. What's Anochi? Anochi means I. No names. No modes of being. No doing, no showing up. Just the entity itself. Who gave us the Torah at Har Sinai? Hashem. In what mode of being was Hashem operating when He gave us the Torah? And the answer is He wasn't. It wasn't Yud Kei Vav Kei. It wasn't Elokim. It was Anochi. Hashem says, I. And relative to I, to Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Elokim, they're all the same. One is that which brings time and space into being, which limits, which calculates, which reduces. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the infinite origin of all of those things where time and space exist synonymously. Both of those are just modes of being of the I, of Hashem Himself, beyond names. Anochi, and that's why it starts with Anochi I. And when it comes from I, when it comes from Hashem, from the source of Yud Kei Vav Kei and the source of Elokim, I, Hashem Himself, is the source of both of those things, then Hashem can allow those two to interact. Hashem can allow us to go through Elokim, through nature, through being natural human beings, living in a natural world, through that to access Yud Kei Vav Kei, to access the infinite, to access the source of existence where past, present, and future all coexist as one. Because the parameters that separate, that define Yud Kei Vav Kei and Elokim as being different, both come from Hashem Himself, I. So the Torah was given to us not by Yud Kei Vav Kei, not by Hashem in Yud Kei Vav Kei mode, not by Hashem in Elokim mode. Hashem, period. I. And so because it's coming from Hashem Himself, undefined by names or anything else, not in any behavioral mode, that I, the Anochi, can allow the Yud Kei Vav Kei and the Elokim, the supernatural and the natural, to come together, which means that us, through not murdering, we can connect to that faith that you would not think, you wouldn't think naturally that these two things can be relevant to the same person at the same time. The person who's, working on the commandment of believing Hashem as we're describing it is not a person who's in a situation to murder. And a person who's in a situation where they actually have to actively work on not murdering, they're not there, naturally. But because Hashem Anochi, the source of both Hashem Elokecha, is giving us the Torah that allows us to go through nature and to access that which is beyond nature. It allows the person who's not murdering because Hashem said to not murder, Tachtonim Ya'alu Le'Elyonim, to ascend to that which is above and to connect to who they truly are, because by doing that they're connecting to Hashem, the Hashem beyond names, the Creator, period, not in any behavioral mode, not with any names. Anochi, Hashem says I. The person who doesn't murder, the person who doesn't kidnap because Hashem said so, because Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I, Hashem your God, said to do this. So Anochi is beyond Hashem and Elokecha, is beyond faith, and is beyond not murdering, and therefore can allow all of those things to connect into each other. And for those who are in a place of working on that level of faith, to bring that all the way down into the fact that they're not murdering and not kidnapping, even though they wouldn't have been doing it anyways. And for the person who's actively working on not murdering and not kidnapping, to be able to connect because they're plugging into the truth of Hashem. They can plug into the truth of who they are, and they can plug into this faith and all of these other things that it doesn't rationally make sense for them to be in any sort of position to be in touch with.